Hello, my name is Christian Stringer, the art lead on Polterheist.
Hi, my name is Sebastian Krugunaev, and I'm the engineering lead.
My name is Lane Knopf. I am the production lead.
My name is Kyle Yonnet, and I'm one of the animators on Polterheist.
Hi, I'm Sean Turk, a gameplay programmer on the Polterheist team.
We're here to present to you Polterheist, the Shawnee State University 2020 senior project for the game development program. What we have right now is a work in progress, but we're really proud of what we have, so we hope you enjoy. Hello, my name is Christian Stringer, and I'm joined by my team member Sean Turk, a programmer, and one of our animators, Kyle Yonnet, and this is our game, Polterheist. But what is Polterheist? It started out as an idea to make a fun game where you and your friends get to play as the ghosts. Getting to become a specter and haunt different objects sounded really interesting to us, so we started to look for other games that might help us figure out how we could make something like that. There were plenty of games to choose from, but it was pretty easy to pinpoint which ones had the exact feel we wanted. We started by looking at Overcooked. With this, we wanted to emulate that frantic couch co-op feeling. The feeling of hanging out with your friends and screaming at each other to get the dishes ready and throwing plates across the screen. All in the sake of fun. Along with that, we wanted to borrow the wave defense of Plants vs. Zombies, among some of its other core game ideas. This helped us to form the backbone of what we wanted our gameplay to be, while also helping us to define what style we wanted to hit with our art. The final game that we borrowed from was Luigi's Mansion. With this game, we took inspiration from that fun, cartoony mansion, and it helped us narrow down our tone and visual style. Next, we derived our X statement to help us narrow down our ideas and figure out exactly what we were trying to make. This is what we came up with. Join your spooky friends in this frantic couch co-op game to protect your mysterious mansion from an eclectic bunch of baddies. Use your ghostly abilities to haunt the halls as you take control of your treasures and defend your home from intruders. This helped us with gameplay, art, and enabled the team to make informed decisions when designing Polterheist. Having already identified what games we wanted to emulate, we took time to boil those ideas down and figure out the tone we wanted to set for the rest of the project. With the X statement made, we had to come up with a narrative. With this, we determined what rooms would be in the house, what kind of people the ghosts were in life, and who would be trying to steal whatever treasures lie inside. In a mansion that sits alone far out in the woods, there lived an eccentric family of adventurers. These adventurers were a diverse and wild group that traveled the world in search of treasure and rare artifacts. They kept up this tradition for generations until eventually they died off. The house laid abandoned for a while, but rumors spread about the fantastic treasures that they left behind. Little do they know that ghosts haunt these halls, and they'll defend this house even if it kills them. Much like with the X statement, hammering out the reasons we are in this house helped drive decisions and create a tone that we keep pushing towards as we make assets and incorporate ideas. With all our ideas formalized and arranged, we created the pillars of Polterheist. This is the essence of our game and drives every decision that we make. If something that we want to put in doesn't directly relate to one of these, it probably won't make it into the game. Our first pillar, classic cartoon style, is what drives our visuals. This comes from our earlier inspirations of Luigi's Mansion and Plants vs. Zombies. Specifically, we wanted to pin down the feel of the house. With this pillar in mind, we decided on a turn-of-the-century mansion that was recently abandoned. Think of the intro from Tales from the Crypt. Defend your treasures from intruders. This is the core gameplay of Polterheist. This helps us make decisions on what the ghosts are supposed to be doing. For example, that feeling of desperately trying to scare out all the baddies before they take all the treasure you have to your name. This is where our defensive gameplay with the idea of having to find different objects to possess is defined. This also helps us when we're trying to design the different objects the players are going to interact with throughout the night. Frantic yet casual. This comes directly from Overcooked. That fun and frantic action that is still accessible enough for pick up and play. This also helps us to figure out our audience, being small groups of friends and family. Players should be working together with everything that they do in this game, all the while being constantly harassed by the enemies in the house. At the same time, though, this game isn't about skill. It's about teamwork. So it should be easy to pick up and play. Our last pillar is varied and challenging enemies. With this, we have a basis for designing enemies and making sure that they still pose a threat to the ghosts, even though we're the ones trying to scare them out. Each enemy will have multiple forms, each one more difficult to deal with than the last. Along with this, we incorporated a stamina system that we'll see later to try and increase that challenge. And this is essentially Polterheist, the identity of our game and how we make our decisions when designing gameplay and visuals. From here, I'll hand it off to Sean to talk to you about what you'll be doing in this ghoulish game.
So what does the gameplay of Polterheist look like? Before a round starts, 1 to 4 players must select which unique ghost they will play as. Once they have decided, they will spawn inside the mansion. Players do not need to panic just yet, as there is a preparation phase where they can familiarize themselves with their environment, locating key props and treasure locations, which I'll explain in a moment. To help players scout, their ghosts can possess specific paintings. These paintings are interconnected with those in other rooms, allowing a player to view an entirely different room than the one they are in, framed through its painting. These will also help once the round starts to help locate where enemies are pathing. Intruders are trespassing within your mansion, desperately scouring for your precious treasure to steal. If these enemies manage to escape with enough treasure, the players lose. Players win when they successfully scare away all the intruders that attack that night. Each night is structured like a Plants vs. Zombies level, with multiple enemies attacking in waves. Players then receive a grade based on how many treasures remain when the night ends. Enemies have two stats, their health and their paranoia. When they lose all their health, they become terrified and run out of the house, dropping everything. The more paranoid an enemy is, the more health damage they will take. Ghosts cannot directly attack or interact with the enemies, so how can they defend their home? Well, turns out these ghosts are powerful poltergeists, able to turn the furnishings and other props into weapons of fear. First, rattle some chains, flicker the lights, and shake the tables to raise an enemy's paranoia. Specific paranoia-inducing props exist all around the mansion and can be activated for free. Possession is the primary mechanic of Polterheist. Now that an enemy is paranoid, players will take control of a prop to use it to scare away all their health. Each prop requires the player to complete a short minigame in order to scare. The same minigame can apply to multiple props. There are two different types of props, static and dynamic. Dynamic props are mobile, and the players can move them into position to deliver a good scare. The minigames for dynamic props control their movement. For example, the Flappy Book prop requires the player to press a button to flap or move in an arc toward the direction they are facing. If the player hits a wall, ground, or ceiling, they lose a chunk of stamina. Static props scare stronger, but cannot move from their position. Their minigames are more complex since the payoff is larger. For example, the ball launcher prop has a golf swing-like meter to control the accuracy and force of the launched ball. The player then takes control of the ball to steer it and smash into its target, delivering an area of effect scare. While a player possesses a prop, they expend stamina. When enemies become more paranoid, they drop a stamina pickup. When enemies are scared off, they drop a stronger stamina pickup that also gives stamina to the other teammates. Enemies have various states depending on their stats and actions. They wander the mansion scouring for treasure in their searching state. If they are very paranoid, they will switch to acting cautious and frequently stop to look around themselves. If they are scared but do not lose all their health, they will run away. If they find the treasure, they will grab it and look for the nearest exit. And finally, once they lose all their health, they leave out of the nearest exit empty-handed. Certain enemies even have flashlights that can spot and threaten the ghosts. If a player is caught in a beam of this light, their stamina will start to drain. If their stamina runs out while caught in a flashlight, the ghost will face a Pac-Man ghost-like death. Players can also locate levers within the mansion. If each player possesses and pulls a lever at the same time so that all are held down simultaneously, a special room will open. These levers will spawn at different and random locations each night, so as players get familiar with the mansion, the scouting phase can then be used to locate these levers. At any point during the night, a player can travel to this room, and for a short time, all players will enjoy unlimited stamina to scare to their heart's content. The stamina room is a one-time use. The mansion is very large and intricate. To help navigate and traverse large distances fast, players can possess various telephones in order to travel along their wires. Telephones are a network of fast travel locations.
What does our game look like? Here's an example of some of the inspiration behind our player characters. We wanted to show unique characters without breaking the budget on modeling and animation, so we created characters with defined features to make our ghosts feel more unique. For example, the gambler's ghost reflects his bold style with a slick goatee and a lavish hat, whereas the matriarch's ghost can be seen sporting a fancy necklace and explorer's hat. Our player ghost you see here reflects the cartoony nature of the afterlife in our game. For animation, we looked at references of octopus and jellyfish. This ensured our ghost would have a otherworldly float to them while retaining some of that cute cartoony aesthetic. As it stands currently, we have one intruder with more on the way. This enemy is known as the Criminal, who is an ex-con fresh out of prison for larceny. This mesh shows elements of our chunky, cartoony style with exaggerated proportions such as the hands, feet, and face. He is very long, skinny, and he has a high center of gravity. Animation took this and uses as influence for his movement. Every time the criminal is scared, we tried to affect his lack of balance with long, exaggerated poses, always losing a step every time he's scared. The criminal has the ability to steal props, so we decided that anywhere the criminal looks, he should have his hands close by, or at least leading with his hands, getting ready to swipe something. As the criminal becomes more paranoid, he will have progressively more stylized animations until ultimately he will flee the mansion. The players are very cartoony ghosts, and we wanted anything they interact with to reflect that. As a result, we knew our game's possessables needed to be very squishy and exaggerated. However, we needed to be smart about how we built them given our limited budget. So the animation team chose to build rigs and small parts to try and cover as many movement possibilities as we could think of. Some of the parts include bipedal rigs for leg and hip movement, IK, FK splines, IK handles, and FK jaw rigs. Having these parts allowed us to construct rigs faster without needing to make custom skeletons for each possessable in the game. For example, the T-Rex, china cabinet, and bookshelf you see here all use bipedal rigs parented with IK splines or IK handles to allow more unique movements between props. If we wanted to add movement functionality, we had to either use one of our pre-built rigs or justify a rig that must be used on multiple props.
For our game, we needed a lot of space in order to utilize all the prop ideas that we had. So our environment team laid out a map that consisted of 4 wings. Each of these wings has a different theme: living quarters, entertainment, guest areas, and dining. Inside these, we designate specific rooms. From there, we create kits that we can use to populate each one. These kits will be specific to each room, but may allow some of the props that we create to be reusable. These are some examples of rooms that players will be able to explore. This room is the study, the place the ghosts came to in life to plan out adventures and learn up on some ancient artifacts. It's the first room that we've gotten fully modeled. We're going for a wonky and cartoony style, much like our inspirations. So we emphasize reducing the amount of straight lines on our models, along with making certain parts of them more chunky. For each room, we try to hit a certain level of visual density, so the house feels lived in and alive. Along with this, we wanted to make them diverse and give them easily identifiable points of interest to help with both navigation and to make them just look cool. The house has as much character as anyone else in this game. Here's some more examples. We really push to make rooms feel large and expansive, being that this is a mansion and all. We want to give players a sense of awe and mystery to make them want to explore the house further and find whatever it might be hiding. And that's Polterheist. Our idea, gameplay, and how it looks. Like I said before, this is a work in progress, but we're very proud of the team and the work that they put in. We hope you enjoyed our presentation, and that you're looking forward to play this game just as much as we are. So thank you from everyone at Shawnee State.